Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for another Chelsea FC news video, talking of course about the champions of Europe, Chelsea Football Club. If you didn't know, last Saturday night we won the bloody Champions League, beating Manchester City, and ever since then there have been floods of reports about certain individuals coming into Chelsea, certain potential players that our manager Thomas Tuchel is supposedly heavily interested in. Today, before we get into anything, I do want to ask you to subscribe to GBFC. If you haven't already done so, we're creeping up towards 200,000 subscribers. It would be nice to hit it as soon as possible. Also, we're getting close to 150,000 followers over on Twitter. If you don't follow me, it is at Mr. George Benson. There is a link in the description. You guys should go and help me get to that milestone. Today, I want to talk to you guys about the reports that came out a few days ago now, earlier on this week, and I haven't addressed it yet here on GBFC. Adama Traore, the Wolves wing-back, winger, whatever you want to know him as, the big beast, and Chelsea are linked with him. Supposedly Tuchel sees him as an ideal kind of signing. Some people are also saying that he is kind of a backup signing if Chelsea's pursuit of Jadon Sancho doesn't go the way we want it to, if he ends up going to Manchester United. And I wanted to talk today about Traore, and I think Adama Traore would be a much cheaper option than, say, a Jadon Sancho. But at the same time, in more important terms, he is a very versatile player who actually offers Chelsea a lot that we desperately need. I wouldn't say we desperately need it, but he offers a lot of natural width. He's a very strong, powerful player. And I also want to entertain the idea that it could potentially offer Reece James more often as an option in the right centre-back position. I know that Azpilicueta has literally just captained Chelsea to Champions League glory, but in terms of Thomas Tuchel's long-term plan at the club, he will know that if he remains at Chelsea Football Club and for the duration of this supposed new contract until June 2024, Azpilicueta will most probably not be playing every single match of the season until June 2024. Azpi is not the right side of the prime years of his career. He's still obviously operating at an incredibly high level, but in terms of his age, before long, we're going to have to start seeing him shifted out of the team a little bit more, which obviously is not something I want to entertain right now because he's just captained Chelsea, as I said, to Champions League glory, and he was absolutely immense across that entire campaign. However, the good news about Adama Traore, despite there being a lot of questions still about the man's output in terms of his final ball, his final delivery, we've seen in the Premier League that he has this kind of explosive nature. And I firmly believe that players with the innate ability that Adama Traore has, with this big build and his strength and his speed, I believe that in terms of that output that is currently the big question about he doesn't finish enough and he doesn't create enough good quality opportunities, when you're playing around better quality players, which I don't think there's anyone out there that can dispute that Wolves to Chelsea is a massive step up in potential teammates. When you do make that step up with the people you're playing around, those numbers start to rise quite dramatically. And I think the reason why Adama Traore would be a very good Chelsea signing is because if we are to continue playing with the wing-back system with three centre-backs, it gives us the option to use Reece at right centre-back. It also gives us an incredibly gifted natural right wing-back option again in Adama Traore. And if Chelsea do decide to go with maybe a 4-3-3 somewhere along the line, then having Adama Traore on the wing with Reece James behind him is an incredibly daunting prospect for Chelsea, not only in a defensive sense with being able to commit forward and also getting back with speed and strength, but having that kind of option, whether it's Azpi at right back, Azpi wing back, whatever Thomas Tuchel wants to do, I think it makes that right-hand side for Chelsea full of quality players that we can call upon when we're competing for various different competitions. I think Traore, if he was to come in, he wouldn't be coming in with the expectation of playing every single match for Chelsea and always being a first choice, although he probably wants that, and it would be a bit of a problem if he didn't want that because he's a footballer, he wants to be on the pitch. But I think it is that kind of signing that even if it's not the top tier player that we want, such as maybe a Jadon Sancho, if Chelsea is still interested, which the Athletic reports they are, then not only is it cheaper, but I also think it gives Chelsea a variety of different options, not just in the wing-back role, but if we are to choose to change the formation to 4 at the back as well, using either Reece in the right centre-back in a back 3, or at right-back in a back 4. There is, however, 2 main things that I asked the question about with Adama Traore. The first one is this output, and in terms of the explosive pace and strength and tackling ability, getting forward, getting back, that is great, a good part of his game. However, in terms of the final ball, I have seen enough of Adama Traore to know that he really needs to sharpen that up. His numbers, compared to his ability, are not quite good enough. We've seen some incredible performances from him where he's carried Wolves on his own, but not often enough. And my worry would be, can he actually make that step up when he's given a great bunch of talented players around him? Can he make that step up in quality to start delivering on a more consistent, frequent basis? The second issue that I have is that I'm a big fan and a big follower of Tino Livramento. If you don't know, he's been playing in the Chelsea reserves this season. He's been one of the best players in that team, and he's a right back. And there's been reports in the last few days that AC Milan are monitoring his situation. And we all know when AC Milan come knocking on the door, as we've seen this season with Fikayo Tomori, it's not good news. And I think for Chelsea, if we do go in for someone like Adama Traore, we've got to be ready to say goodbye to a talent like Tino Livramento, which, similar to that of Tariq Lamptey, who has gone on to do great things this season for Brighton, unfortunate with an injury, but Chelsea on that right-hand side, coming up through the academy, we've got some top quality players. And now that Reece James is a European champion, the amount of fuel and drive that is going to give someone like Tino Livramento, I do wonder if Chelsea are best avoiding going in for someone like Adama Traore, despite him supposedly being a Thomas Tuchel target, to therefore give somebody like Livramento a chance. We've seen him on the bench a couple of times this season. If you don't watch the Chelsea second team, then you definitely should go and give this guy a watch. He's a very competent player, plays usually as a wing-back going forward, really, really good in attacking sense, defensive sense as well. And I actually believe, to conclude this whole discussion about Adama Traore, I would love to see Chelsea either go for a more out-and-out winger, such as a Jadon Sancho, which I've always said, on the right-hand side. And if we don't, we give Tino Livramento that push-up next season that if we do need to use him to either rest Reece or rest Azpilicueta, then we give Tino a shot. I know that the counter-argument to all of this is that now that we've won the Champions League, Chelsea need to keep improving the squad, keep adding players that are going to immediately boost the first team, but I don't know if Traore is at that kind of level where I can confidently say he takes Chelsea from here to here. He's a great option. The dog's going at it again. I wondered at what minute it was going to be in today's video that the dog starts to yap. Oi! Brewski, get out of the bush, bro. Don't know why I always have to go put on a South African accent whenever I talk to the dog, but it just makes sense. And he's shut up now. You can hear that? Absolutely nothing from the dog is coming. The second story that I want to talk about today, once again reported from Simon Phillips, quoting The Athletic, Hakim Ziyech. I said it, the dog's back. I said it a couple days ago that maybe because of his game time, and he is a big player, he's a big personality, he's an experienced player, the fact that Hakim Ziyech this season hasn't really set the world alight at Chelsea, apart from a few good individual performances, maybe we could see Hakim Ziyech sold this summer. And it is reported that Napoli in Italy are interested in the player. And people have often had a misconception about my views on Hakim Ziyech this season. I know that he's the kind of player who is a very moody player. Sometimes if he's in the mood, he can be an absolute match winner, game changer for Chelsea or whatever team he's playing for, back at Ajax or for his national team. But this season, he's been in and out of the team so frequently that I don't think we've ever been able to see the absolute best out of him. And I think when he looks at some of the players that Chelsea are linked with this summer and the developments towards the end of the season of other attacking players, Mason Mount is completely untouchable, irreplaceable in the Chelsea starting 11. Kai Havertz, after scoring that goal, next season we're seeing him start all of the games at the beginning of the season. I firmly believe that unless there's an injury. And you just wonder if Hakim Ziyech will look at the potential he has for game time and just think maybe this whole Chelsea move wasn't the right one for him. As much as I believe in the player's ability and I know that he can be a game changer and a match winner, I just don't think he wants to be a bit part player. And I think if someone like Napoli were to come knocking on the door, I would firmly expect Hakim Ziyech to be open to the deal. Chelsea can also still sell him for decent money, recoup the fee that we paid for him, and we just see it as one that didn't quite work out in the long term. We thank him for what he did last season, but in terms of moving forward, at the moment, I don't see where Hakim Ziyech's regular game time will come in this Chelsea team. But anyway, going to wrap up this Chelsea FC news video today. 2 big stories to discuss. As always, the conversation doesn't end here. It continues in the comments down below with you lot. Thank you for all the support. As I said at the beginning, if you can go follow me on the socials, the link is down below. And subscribe if you are new. Turn on bell notifications so you never miss a bloody video. Chelsea are the champions of Europe. I will see you guys tomorrow. Come on, you Blues.